everyone, welcome back. My name is Emma, for those of you who don't know me. I am a mental health therapist and I specialise in childhood trauma recovery, satanic ritual abuse and mind control recovery. I am also an energy healer and a spiritual guide. So in today's video, I'm going to start talking more about SRA now. I'm also going to be collaborating with someone on a podcast, and we'll be exposing more of the SRA world, especially around recovery, therapists within the mental health care system, and the infiltration that can go on in those places, things to look out for and things like that. So anyway, in today's video, I wanted to get started with that by going over my timeline from my healing journey, from when it started to where I'm at now. So I began to awaken to what happened to me in 2019, around June, July sort of time. And I know from the clients that I do work with now, and also other survivors that I've spoke to, we all seem to have woke up around the same time. I do think there's a reason for that, and I will go into that in more detail in other videos. But for me, I first awoke to that in 2019. I got a sudden memory of my father when I was quite young, about 2 or 3 years old, abusing me in the back of a car. And from there, it just kind of progressed, really. I have always suffered with depression, anxiety, CPTSD, since I was really young. The first depressive episode I remember having, I was about 10 years old, and I was suicidal at that point. So yeah, it's kind of always been there, but I wasn't aware of it. So as I say, these memories started coming up. I didn't realise at first that it was SRA related, and the more I sort of progressed on my journey and my memories began to open, that became more apparent. I also started doing research on these things, on mind control and things, and realised I was a part of that also, with other memories I've had, and then seeing how these things sort of work within MKultra. I was able to relate it then. I also met people along the way, such as Wilfred Wong. Some of you in the UK might have heard of Wilfred. He was very helpful in me kind of coming to terms with all this and understanding what had happened to me. Unfortunately, he was taken out, and he's not real. I can't speak to him anymore in regards to this. He was a very huge player in the exposure of SRA and had been doing it for 27 years. So obviously it wasn't someone the Satanists wanted to have around, really. So that was sad. So yeah, from there, from 2019, I got out of where I was. I realised I'd been surrounded by handlers my entire life. Even my first husband was a handler. I realised that my children have also been subjected to this, and they show signs. Also the mental health side of things, they're very affected by. So I learning about it did help me. It helped me understand where my mental health issues had come from. It made me understand why I was treated the way I was my entire life, because I never conformed or became an abuser myself. So I was very much kept in the dark from about 93 onwards. I was still being used. I was still being switched into alters, which I now remember. But I was not aware at all at the time. To me, I was living a normal life. I had 4 kids. I was a stay-at-home mum. And, you know, I just had mental health issues as far as I was aware. So it was quite a lot to remember, really. I've been able to look at it quite objectively, not get too attached to the emotions that came up. And I just pieced it together. I did have to face my memories that were coming up, and I had to deal with those things. I was able to then connect with that inner child or alter that was experiencing those things, change the story around it, bring healing to that inner child, and that allowed me then to start integrating my alters. Now, the problem with going to the medical professionals, so to speak. I am a qualified specialist. I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but I do have healing modalities, so I am certified in that respect. But I mean, by going into a clinical situation, there is a lot of infiltration in there, and they try to keep us stuck, not being able to heal and not being able to integrate those alters. Instead, they kind of get us to embrace those alters instead, so they become more dominant within us. Now, these alters obviously are a part of us. They are us. They're just a system within our minds. But we can integrate them back in and become one with these alters. So that really is the work I do when I work with clients. It's all about integration and healing from that. Just trying to think where to go next. I didn't really plan this out. I kind of came on spontaneously, really. So yeah, I have integrated a lot of my alters. I don't switch now like I used to. If I got very angry, for instance, or upset, I could switch into an angrier alter who kind of took control and was very protective of me. I'm naturally a very calm, sensitive person. I am an empath. For those of you that don't know what an empath is, that's a highly sensitive person. I think with empaths, that's a lot of the reason why we can't conform and we can't turn into an abuser ourselves, because of the sensitivity that we have. We're so caring of others. We know from a young age how things feel, and we don't want others to feel that kind of thing. And so it's really hard, I think, to fully change us. Even though they can put us into alters and get us to do things we don't want to do, we don't fully change into that, which is why it seems as though we're living one life when actually, you know, the truth is that these things go on within our alters. So I think that kind of explains why, really, that I was able to fight it the way I did. I am spiritual, so I also think that we came here for a reason, a lot of us, and that's another reason why. It's what we call light workers. You might have heard of that. And being spiritual and using spiritual healing has really helped me immensely to be able to overcome this. A lot of days were very hard, especially in the beginning. Yes, I could look at it objectively, but you're still experiencing those emotions that you felt as a child, and it's still shocking, really, as well, to see the kind of things that we were put through, the torture techniques and things like that. So we kind of have to overcome those things, really, and that's what I help people with as well, both in my videos and with clients I deal with, or just people that I support in general. So yeah, I've felt like a bit of a detective really, piecing it all back together. Everything's been very scattered the way it's come in. I also found my healing's been like a layer of an onion. So where I might have one memory come up and think that I've healed it, and then I go off onto another one. I then might get brought back to this one, and there'll be another aspect of that memory I then need to deal with and heal. I also found as well that it gets harder as we go along. But even though it gets harder as we go along, we're getting stronger with each memory that we overcome. So when these harder things come up, we've already got that strength behind us to then deal with um, these harder memories that come, and the more detail that come with them and things. So for anyone that is on their healing journey that is starting to wake up with this, I would suggest that you try and look at it objectively as much as you can. It's a case of these memories coming up and piecing together so we can piece together our true timeline, our true past of what really happened to us. And when we're able to do that, it brings us to a point where we then can change our life moving into the future, and start creating that life that we should have had we not gone through all this abuse. So it is possible to heal. I want everyone to understand that we all have the ability to heal. Our minds are very complex really, in the way that although we've been programmed one way, we can rewire that and kind of make it more positive and move into start embracing who we really are, and those switches into maybe alters that we're not so, that are more angry and hurt, don't kind of take over as much. And by healing them, they kind of calm down and, as I say, integrate back in. So it gives us a lot more control over what we're doing with our healing, and where we're going moving forward. I do, a lot of the clients that I do work with, I've noticed, are also on a spiritual journey. And as they heal, they're now coming into helping others into healing. If that's you, I would love you to get in touch with me and let me know your experiences of what you've been going through, and what you've found in relation to that. So yeah, it can be quite hard. As I say, it's all about just piecing it together. It's our truth at the end of the day. As hard as it is to deal with and come to terms with, it is still the truth of what happened to us. And it's a lot better for it to be out in the open, at least within our minds. You don't have to go out and talk if you don't want to. That's not what I'm saying. But, it's better to be out in the open for ourselves, because then, we know who we are then. We know why we act certain ways, and it allows us, as I say, to heal and bring peace and resolution to those altars that are still stuck in the nightmare that was created. So I think I'm going to leave it there for this video. And yeah, we will delve more into this in future videos, and also within the podcast that we'll be doing with myself and another survivor. She's not ready to go on camera yet, but that's fine. We'll be able to figure that out. Everyone's at different stages of our journey, and you just have to kind of accept that. Don't rush yourself. Don't feel like you need to be further along, you need to be more healed or anything than anybody else. Just take your time and go at your own pace. And, if anyone is struggling with memories coming up and piecing it all together, you are welcome to get in touch with me, and, I can give you some pointers maybe, of the kind of things that have worked for me, and I know that have worked for other people. And, you know, that's what I'm here for. And yeah, I will go in the next video, I will go into reasons why I think we were woken up or allowed to awaken in 2019 to these memories. And yeah, we'll dive into more. So anyway, I will leave it here for now. I hope everyone is well. I hope I haven't triggered anybody. I will put a trigger warning on this video just in case. But yeah, I will see you in the next video.